Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here with, I'm sharing the process with you. Now, if you've ever seen one of my studio tour videos, you'll know that I like covering cardboard boxes with my gel prints, and when I find wooden boxes, I like to paint them. And just as an example, this is one of the wooden boxes I paint. Now, I always keep an eye open when I'm doing look in charity shops, thrift stores, or sometimes if I go to IKEA, they'll in their like discontinued line or damaged line, they'll have wooden boxes. And this is where I found this. And I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other boxes that I found, which are already painted, but I wanted to share with you the painting process. Normally, they're not always this nice and clean if I've got them from a thrift shop. So what I would normally do is I usually get an alcohol wipe or something and I wipe them down. If they've got any stickers or that, I try and remove them. If they're ultra glossy, I might take a bit of sandpaper to them occasionally. If you don't have alcohol as far as wipes go, I will very often use window cleaner because window cleaner is also got a degreaser in it. So this is what I'm looking for. Now, this may just be a drawer to a box for storing stationery. However, this is a tray to me with something to put other stuff in. So I thought, right, we're going to just show you how I paint my pieces because it may be a technique you're unfamiliar with. So I'm just get a gel plate. It doesn't have to be a gel plate. It could be a tile. It could be anything. And I'm using just regular acrylic paint. Now, this is raw wood, so I know it's going to work on here. If you wanted to do this on something that's slightly shinier, you might want to put clear gesso or white gesso on first. It's completely up to you. It's a simple process, and I'm just showing the way I'm doing it. So I've got a bit of packing sponge here, and I've just got a paint here. I dab it on, dab it off, and then I literally just bounce the sponge up and down on the box. Now, when I do a box, I don't normally do the inside unless it absolutely has to be done on the inside, because to do the inside is tricky with a sponge, and then you get into painting. And my thinking is, why am I doing the inside when it's not going to be seen anyway, because the box will be full of something. And also I want to do the process quickly. So as you can see, this is the quickest way I've got to do it. Now, as you're sponging up and down, you'll probably get this sort of bubbly texture. Give it a few seconds and that will probably disappear as it's starting to do there. Or as your paint is starting to dry, just go over again and gently tap it and it'll get rid of it. Depending on the colour of the wooden box to start with, I will normally do 2 coats. I also do the top edge, and I do that in the same process as I did before. I don't worry about getting it on the inside, but if you do it from a slight angle, as you've seen me do that, you get very little on the inside anyway. That bit in there might cause me a problem, but it didn't cause me that much. Now, the nature of tapping up and down on here might have damaged your edge of your paint there. It didn't on here, but what I would then do is just come back through and do that. So there you go. That's how I paint my boxes. And I only use craft paint. I don't seal them with anything else. If in the future any of the paint started to peel off, I just maybe take that as an opportunity and repaint the whole box. So that's how I get it. So let's put this to one side and move on to the ones I've actually painted. Now, let's address a few things that you need to think about when you're dealing with painting your box. Now, I don't paint the base, so I can always put my box down when it's wet, but I sometimes will put maybe a coaster or a book or something under it. Even something as simple as a roll of tape will keep it elevated enough off your surface so it doesn't stick to your surface as it's drying. That way you can do all the edges. With this, I would probably do this edge, and this side, and this side, so I can still hold that side. And then when they were dry, I would then come in, hold this side and do that side. It's up to you. Find the way that works best for you with your dexterity or whatever you're having to deal with. When it comes to a box about this size, I want to say this might be an IKEA box by the look of it. I've got big hands, so if I put my hand in and I splay my fingers out, I can actually maneuver this box around. Because I'm not painting the bottom, I can put it down to rest my hand or move it around. As you can see, sometimes not easy. You just need to find the way your hand works best. Okay, when you're doing the three sides, you could do that, still holding there, that, and that. You're still holding, put it down, then pick it up by being on the inside and do that. As you can see, find what works for you. So this is one that I've done. This is a bigger one. This one a bit smaller. And then these two were actually lids to two of these boxes. Like that one fits on there. I'm never going to use them as lids, but I might use them for trays to put washi tape in or paper clips or stuff like that. So this is what we're going to be working with today. Now, I like to paint them using foam stamps. I have used stencils in the past. If you're using a stencil, put the box down, lay the stencil on, and sponge some paint through it onto the stencil, through the stencil onto the wood. I would say, however, you may not get crisp edges if you've got grain to your wood. But I like the quick and easy method, which is just foam stamps. So I've just pulled out 4 today, and we're just going to be working with these 4. And I'm going to show you how I just build up. It is a process, so bear with me, guys. Let's put some white out. Now, there is no particular order. Where's the lid gone? There is no particular order to what I do. I am just sharing what I do as a way of working with these. So try not to have too much paint there. So let's start with the yellow one first. Now, again, if you're working, always think, how am I going to put this down? So I'm just going to come in, tap on. Now, I can do that side. I can do this side. If I turn it back the other way, I'm going to be stuck. But remember, that one hasn't got anything on it. So if I lift this up, I'm holding it by holding my hand. Maybe a little bit below. Right, then I go with my hand in place, put it. I don't ever do any printing on the top edge. So guys, I'm probably going to speed this video up now because you don't need to see me do this with every single box. So that was a stamp called Coded Mesh. I'm now done with the white, so I need to clean this up. So next I'm going to come in with my next colour. I'm going to go to the orange that I used to cover the other box, pure because it's quite a nice colour. And for this one, I'm going to use probably this one. I would say it's Peculiar Pebbles. It is Peculiar Pebbles. And I've chosen these colours because they kind of go with everything we're doing. Now, you don't have to do everything on every side of the box. I will just look for areas that I feel could benefit from it. So a little bit there. So the next stamp I'm going to use in red, and it's Celtic Conundrum, and it's the small version. It doesn't take a lot of paint. This is a really great way to use up old paint. If you try to get the last of it used up. So we're on to the last one. Now, I would normally say, as a general rule for myself, I normally do black or the highest contrast color last. Also the boldest design. This is Sketchy Dots. Purely just out of habit. Just put that on there. And also because it's the boldest design, and these don't need to be stamps, guys. So don't get hung up on the stamp thing. These could be mark making tools. These could be markers. They could have anything like that. So let's come in now with the last one. Put them on, know that they're going to be bold. So put them on sparing. Don't do that. Or if you do that, like I just slipped there, do it on every side. Like, do it so that you slipped. As my old cake decorating teacher used to say, if you make a mistake, don't try to cover it up, reveal it, show it as a design element. So again, I'm going to come in now, I'm going to be a little more gentle touching it down this time. It's not an exact science, it's a storage box. You'll also note I am overlapping designs. For me, that's interesting. The other thing to look for too is if you're looking for larger boxes, look at old chests of drawers or like desks or things like that, because sometimes the upper drawers are small. Now, I'm not sure I would normally have done this amount of stamping on the little ones, but as we're doing a complete process video here, I thought we might as well share them. The paint will dry relatively quickly because obviously it's a thin layer. So we're all finished. Let's take a look at them. So as you can see, they're just fun items. Now, if you have a surface you're worried about, you can always put some foam dots on the bottom of these just to slide them in and out. What I would say, however, is I normally leave them a full 24 hours to dry, because if you don't, sometimes they're sticky. Also, when I put them on the shelf, I always leave them have just a little bit of a gap between them, because if you butt them up against each other over time, they might stick to each other. It's the nature of acrylic paint. Let's put that to one side. See, in this one, obviously your choice of colors will depend on how dramatic they look. These are two little trays, which are probably going to go on my desk for paper clips and stuff like that. And here's the last one. So have fun with the idea, guys. Just go for it. As I said, I happen to look for wooden boxes. I do use cardboard boxes, like this one here, a lot, which are covered in gel prints. But over time, these end up getting a bit damaged within and out. So whenever I see these on sale or I find them, I'm progressively going from these to these. That doesn't mean I'm going to give my cardboard boxes up, but it does mean I've got something a little more robust for the future. Okay, my friends, it's time to say goodbye. So enjoy the process. It was a bit of a tutorial. I would say don't try to be neat. Neat is the wrong thing with these storage boxes. Make them as messy as you like. They're colourful works of art on your shelves. They use up spare paint. They're a great way to have some colour in your studio or your creative space. Until next time, I will see you, because I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Goodbye now.